The Industrial Revolution brought about a significant shift in the economic landscape of many countries around the world. With the advent of steam power, mass production and improved transportation, factories replaced small-scale production as the primary mode of production. The revolution also opened up new employment opportunities, particularly for women and children. However, it was also a time of widespread child labor, particularly in factories, mines and agricultural fields. Child labor was not new to the Industrial Revolution. Children had been working in various industries, such as agriculture and textiles, for many centuries. However, the scale of child labor during the Industrial Revolution was unprecedented. Children as young as 4 years old were employed in factories, working long hours in dangerous and unhealthy conditions. Child labor was seen as a cheap source of labor, and children were often paid lower wages than adults. The effects of child labor on children were devastating. Children were often forced to work long hours, often up to 12 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. They were subjected to harsh working conditions, with no breaks for rest or education. Many children were injured or killed from accidents in the workplace, as machinery was often not guarded and safety measures were not in place. The effects of child labor were also long-lasting. Many children who worked in factories suffered from chronic health problems, such as respiratory diseases, due to exposure to dust and fumes. They also suffered from stunted growth, as they were not given enough nutrients to develop properly. The use of child labor during the Industrial Revolution had other lasting effects as well. Many children were denied the opportunity for an education, which limited their prospects for future employment and advancement. Children who worked in factories were often illiterate and had little opportunity to learn new skills. This perpetuated a cycle of poverty, as children who were denied an education were less likely to earn higher wages and improve their standard of living. Furthermore, child labor contributed to the rise of factory production by undercutting adult wages. Adults who refused to work for low wages were replaced by children who were willing to work for less. This created a new class of workers who were exploited for their cheap labor. The use of child labor also had detrimental effects on family life. Parents had to send their children to work to survive, often losing the opportunity to bond with their children and nurture their development. The issue of child labor during the Industrial Revolution did not go unnoticed. Many reformers and social activists campaigned for the abolition of child labor, arguing that it was inhumane and unjust. One such reformer was Lord Shaftesbury, who successfully campaigned for the Mines Act of 1842, which prohibited the employment of women and children in underground mines. This was followed by the Factory Acts of 1833, 1844 and 1847, which restricted the employment of children in factories and established minimum working conditions. The Factory Acts were a significant step towards protecting children from the harmful effects of child labor. However, it was not until the late 19th century that child labor began to decline. Improvements in education, increased prosperity, and changes in social attitudes towards children led to the gradual elimination of child labor from the workplace. The legacy of child labor during the Industrial Revolution is still felt today. Child labor remains a serious issue in many parts of the world, particularly in developing countries where poverty and lack of education perpetuate cycles of exploitation. Child labor also continues to have long-lasting effects on the health and well-being of children, limiting their prospects for the future and perpetuating cycles of poverty and inequality. In conclusion, the use of child labor during the Industrial Revolution had profound and lasting effects on the lives of countless children. It perpetuated cycles of poverty, denied children the opportunity for an education, and had detrimental effects on family life. The use of child labor also contributed to the rise of factory production by undercutting adult wages, perpetuating cycles of exploitation and inequality. The legacy of child labor during the Industrial Revolution is still felt today, underscoring the ongoing need for reform and activism to protect the rights and well-being of children everywhere.